Namaste. You are listening to The Attitude of Destiny, written by Bond and narrated by Mitali Pirangute. Chapter 3, 1980 to 1990. Back to Bombay. 1980 was a remarkable year for India, which marked the emergence of powerful technologies, personal computers, the internet, and cellular phones. These technologies had the potential to completely transform the way people lived, worked, and communicated. The internet was developed by an American scientist, Winton Cerf, sharing the title with Bob Kahn. Now coming back to Deepu, even though he had hardly put any effort, he could get through his final exams and secured his BA degree. Further, his dad wanted him to take up a job, but Deepu opted to join for the master's degree in Maharaja's College itself, so that he can enjoy his college life for 2 more years. However, due to his dad's pressure, he started working as a medical representative and simultaneously joined for the master's degree course in the same college. Actually, it was quite hectic, or rather, practically impossible. He could neither focus on his studies nor his job. However, that 2 years went off pretty fast. Finally, he couldn't appear for his exams but just completed the course. 1981, 6th June. The nation witnessed one of the deadliest train accidents of that time. An overloaded train derailed and fell into the river Bagmati while crossing the bridge. The ill-fated train was bound to Saharsa to Manasi in Bihar. It's estimated that more than 700 people had lost their lives. Destiny has shown its ugly face to hundreds of innocents who lost their lives in no time. 1983 was a very special year for Deepu and for his family. His sister Geeta was getting married to Anand, an engineer at ONGC based in Mehsana, located in Gujarat. Mehsana was built by Mehsaji Chawda, the Rajput successor to the Chawda dynasty in the 14th century. He built the Torna, Ark Gate, and a temple for goddess Toran. The major industries in Mehsana are dairy, oil, and natural gas. Since Geeta was being separated for the first time, it was really a tearful affair for all. She too sobbed her heart out while boarding her train to Mehsana. At home, they were feeling her absence for long. Now coming back to Deepu, all his jobs were temporary. Either he leaves the company or the company leaves him, and in some cases the company is shut down. The same pattern went on for 2 more years until at last Deepu decides to quit his job and leaves to Bombay in search of greener pastures. History is being repeated. Years back, his dad had left his native to Bombay for better prospectus. How destiny has repeated the same episode in both father and son's life. September 1st, 1984. In the early hours of morning, Deepu rang the doorbell of an apartment in Malabar Hill, and the door was opened for him. It was not just the opening of an apartment door, but an opening of opportunities to Deepu. Indeed, it was a turning point in Deepu's life. This time, destiny has shown its positive attitude towards Deepu. Besides, there was one more reason to rejoice. His sister Geeta was blessed with a baby boy, Sanjay. The apartment Raj Niketan is being located in Malabar Hill, a posh residential area in Bombay. Malabar Hill is situated 55 meters above sea level, overlooking the Arabian Sea. the famous Hanging Gardens, a hillside park, the Babulnath Temple, and the Vakeshwar Temple is also located over there. The Vakeshwar Temple is being built by the Silhora kings, which was destroyed by the Portuguese. Later on, it was rebuilt in the 17th century. Since their apartment is in the 7th floor, it has an amazing view of the Marine Drive, especially during the twilight hour, and once the street lights are lit up, it's stupendous and is aptly titled as the Queen's Necklace. For Deepu, it was a comeback to Bombay at his Periappa's house after a very long gap of 17 years. In the past 17 years, many developments had taken place. Mainly Deepu and his cousins have grown from childhood to adolescence and further to adulthood. In the meantime, his Periappa has enviously grown up in his career, from an office assistant to the topmost position as the chairman and managing director of Pfizer Limited, an American multinational co. His office was located in the most sought-after address in the country, Nariman Point, a concrete jungle very similar to Manhattan in New York. Similarly, his Bandra Mama too climbed the executive ladder and reached to the second-most position in Pfizer. Deepu's cousins, except for Sachin, no one was there at home. Sona was married and living with her family in London. Amit and Sagar had completed their engineering degrees and were working in America. Hence, Sachin was the only companion for Deepu, and they both became thick pals. Since it was a reunion after long 17 years, they both spent hours together to share their moments of fun, mischief, and adventure, right from their high school to college days till the recent past. During the last quarter of 1984, two major tragedies had hit our nation, which is worth mentioning. On the 31st of October, the Prime Minister Mrs. Indira Gandhi was assassinated by her own bodyguards, who were Sikhs. Consequently, there was an outbreak of bloody violence and the entire Sikh community was targeted and hundreds were killed, wounded and left homeless. Secondly, on the 3rd of December, the nation awakes by the shocking news about the Bhopal gas leakage, killing thousands of innocents. Nearly 45 tons of the deadly gas, methylisocyanate, leaked from the plant of Union Carbide, an American multinational co. Undoubtedly, these two incidents are definitely created by man, but in both the cases, thousands of innocents were punished and their lives have been changed overnight by him. I mean, destiny. Now coming back to Deepu's life, he had a sea change for the better, from a middle-class surroundings to a sophisticated Malayu, staying in a penthouse in Malabar Hills, outing in chauffeur-driven car, eating out in 5-star restaurants, etc. After few days, Deepu got settled in the new environment and started his job search under the guidelines of one of the managers of Pfizer, one Mr. Saxena. Since Deepu had an affluent background of his Periappa, within a couple of months itself, he could take up a job at the Oberoi Towers, a 5-star hotel located in Nariman Point. Mr. M.S. Oberoi was the founder of the group. He was one of the successful and leading hoteliers in the country, who has humble beginnings from a clerk to an industrialist. His first hotel was in Shimla, the Clark's Oberoi. Destiny again has played a role in bringing Deepu from his hometown, where he was doing some outdoor job, to one of the finest offices in Bombay. However, this time, destiny has shown its positive attitude towards Deepu. In the meantime, his cousin, Sachin, also took up a job in Colgate-Palmolive, a multinational co. located near Nariman Point. Ever since, Sachin and Deepu used to go in a chauffeur-driven car to their respective offices. Deepu's office, being a 5-star property, had a touch of glamour and sophistication. Once again, Deepu's life became vibrant. The ambience at home and at office as well was really wonderful. Besides, the love and caring showered on him by his Periyamma and Periyappa was beyond imagination. Deepu was never homesick. The following Saturday evening, they all had planned for a dinner out at the Chambers in Taj Mahal Hotel. The Chambers is an exclusive club for the elites. But Deepu was unaware about their plans. During the day, Sachin had called him and said, "Hey Deepu, you got to leave your office in time today and I will be there to pick you up." Deepu asks, "Hey bro, what's it all about?" Sachin replied, "You got a surprise. Don't you worry, it's a pleasant one." As planned, Sachin picks him and they both head towards their home and takes a French bath, and subsequently they all hit the road to the Chambers. After a few minutes, the steward comes with a beautiful cake, a 3-layer black forest with cherries on top. Deepu had a glance of the wordings on the top of the cake and he realizes the occasion. The suspense was out. It was his Periyappa and Periyamma's 25th wedding anniversary. After cutting the cake, champagne was served. For Deepu, everything was hard to believe. Everything was for the first time in his life. Attending a wedding anniversary, having food and champagne in such an extravagant ambience, the table setting, exquisite menu, international cuisines, and above all, you experience the height of hospitality. All the sequence of events were beyond his imagination. The next day was followed by a sumptuous lunch in one of the posh restaurants in the Oberoi Hotel for the special guests and for other invitees. After a couple of months' time, Deepu was transferred to the flight services of Oberoi's located near the international airport. Thereafter, Deepu started commuting in local trains to his new office. The local trains are known as the lifelines of Bombay. He used to board his train from Grant Road to Andheri East. A sudden change in his life, from a chauffeur-driven car to local train, and from Nariman Point office to an office in the suburban of Bombay, little out of his comfort zone. Even though it was the same Oberoi group, his bosses and colleagues were different and the entire business module was different, so there was a drastic change in the office culture and atmosphere. In Hotel Oberoi Towers, the staff strength was more than 2,000, but in the flight services, it was hardly 20, excluding the housekeeping staff. Therefore, all the administrative staff got to know each other well, so subsequently, they all developed an intimacy. Deepu's immediate friends were Mark, Sudhir, Vicky, Benedette and Carol. Deepu, Benedette and Carol were in the administration and rest in the food production department. As days turned to weeks and weeks to months, Deepu got accustomed to his daily routine. Local trains, office, friends, and quite fast he got transformed from a Keralite to a typical Bombayite. Since Deepu was involved in union activities, he had to mingle with all levels of staff, especially with the workforce who were Maharashtrians. Despite being a hospitality industry, the Oberoi group had a strong labor union, controlled by the Shiv Sena, a leading political party of Maharashtra. Shri Bal Thackeray established the party during the year 1966 and was the supreme leader till his death on 17th November 2012. Later on, his legacy was taken forward by his son, Shri Uddhav Thackeray. Deepu was easily influenced by the labor union of the company, mainly because of his past experience in students' union activities. Gradually, he got involved into the staff union and was one of the members of the executive committee. Similar to his college union, here also the staff union was directly controlled by the Shiv Sena. At times, Deepu used to attend meetings in the Sena Bhavan, the powerhouse of the party. In fact, Deepu was the only non-Maharashtrian and non-Marathi speaking guy who could freely walk into the Sena Bhavan. Overall, he felt that his college life is being revived. Ever since Deepu started mingling with the workforce, who are hardcore locals, he started getting a feel of Bombay life's other side, or rather the dark side. The underworld mafia, controlled by the Don Dawood Ibrahim, widely known as the D Company, Dharavi, the largest slum in Asia, the red light areas, etc. The following Saturday night, Deepu and his friends were excited to celebrate the birthday of his friend, Bicky. In fact, it was quite common in Bombay life to have cocktail parties at weekends for any reason. However, it was for the first time Deepu was going for a cocktail party, that too with females around. Bicky had invited few of his other friends along with Deepu, Mark, Sudhir, Benedette and Carol. Since both the girls were Anglo-Indians, they were quite familiar to cocktail parties. In fact, Deepu was shocked to see the girls sipping wine and beer. All the others had hard liquor to their choice, rum, whiskey or vodka. Deepu was no exception. He went for vodka with lime cordial, got boozed and had a jolly good time with his friends. A memorable day in his life. Bicky's birthday party was just a beginning. Thereafter, they didn't wait for a reason to have a party. Almost every Saturday reminds me of the movie Saturday Night Fever, a famous Hollywood movie in the late 70s starring John Travolta, who hits the dance floor every Saturday. Even though the flight catering services were lucrative and glamorous, there is a dark side to it, which is quite dangerous for someone who can be easily influenced. Once, a block of gold was being smuggled through the British Airways flight into the flight kitchen through our garbage clearing services, and the same was handed over to one of our supervisors. Knowingly or unknowingly, one of the supervisors received it. However, within few hours, the mafia gang kidnapped all the 3 supervisors and were subject to interrogation in typical mafia style, and within no time, 2 of them were sent back. After a few hours, the 3rd guy also came back with bruises all over his body. Since he had returned alive, it was understood that they received their booty. The whole day went off with suspense and tension for the management. For Deepu and his friends, it was the first of its kind experience. Nothing less than a Bollywood movie. Deepu's Bombay life kept him busy like a bee and fit like a fiddle. He had all the fun of a typical bachelor in Bombay. Once in a year, he used to go to his hometown to meet up his parents, brother Dilip, and all his cousins, which too was exciting. 1985, June 23rd. The day dawns with a shocking news. One of the worst tragedies in aviation history. An Air India flight AI-182 explodes due to a bomb blast, killing all 329 people on board. The flight was en route to Bombay via London from Toronto. Just 45 minutes after takeoff, the flight blasted off the coast of Ireland. Majority of the passengers were Canadians. Later on, it was understood that this heinous crime was carried by Sikh terrorists associated with the militant group Babar Khalsa. Anyways, Whoever had traveled in this ill-fated plane and perished had no reason to blame anyone other than him. I mean, destiny. Here again, for no reason or rhyme, he has devastated the lives of innocents and shattered the dreams of many. 1986 was a very special year for his Periyappa and family. Two of their sons, Amit and Sachin, were getting married. At first, Sachin got married to Savita from down south in Kanyakumara district. She belonged to an affluent political family. Her dad was the local Congress party MLA. As both the families were rich and influential, the wedding was celebrated in pompous. Later on, they had thrown a lavish party in the Oberois in Nariman Point, Bombay. During the last quarter of the same year, Amit got married to Jasmine, a beauty from Alve, Kerala. She too belonged to an upper-class family in Kerala. Their wedding was also a grand affair, and similarly, a grand reception was given in Taj Mahal Hotel, Bombay. During 1987, wedding bells rang for Sagar, married to Namitha from Nagarcoil. A grand wedding followed by a reception in a 5-star hotel in Bombay. Next turn was of Deepu, because his parents were very much anxious to see their eldest son getting married. Accordingly, they started the process, seeing proposals, sending photographs of prospective brides, seeing in person, went on for an year. Finally, in 1988, Deepu's bachelorhood was coming to an end. He was getting married to Devi from down south. Devi was well educated, tall, beautiful, and attractive. She comes off from a middle class background. Her father was working in LIC, mother and housewife, and she had 4 sisters as siblings: Valli, Shivkami, Malli, and Rani, all well educated and beautiful. Deepu decided to throw a lavish bachelorette party to his friends in one of the posh restaurants in town. It's during that time some guys indulge in wild fun, captivated by the allure of a wild night. His friends, Bicky, Sudhir, Mark, Benedette, Carol, along with his immediate boss, had a great time. Rum, whiskey, beer, vodka, and some of the premium spirits flowed lavishly. Besides, the cocktail snacks were tempting to their taste buds, so everyone enjoyed each bite. Of course, Deepu wanted to create an unforgettable experience. It was absolutely a hangover party. The girls, Carol and Benedette, were also no less. They too were in high spirits. The party came to an end by past midnight, but the memories they created would last for a lifetime. It had been a night of joy and unwavering companionship. They all departed by hugging each other, and Deepu was taken aback by the gesture of the girls. Both Benedette and Carol hugged and gently kissed him, maybe for the first and last time. March 30th, 1988 was the most memorable day in Deepu's life. His marriage life started with his life partner, Devi. As it's said that, a great marriage is not when the perfect couple comes together. It is when an imperfect couple learns to enjoy their differences. After a week's time, they both moved to Bombay at his Periyappa's house in Malabar Hills. Devi's parents, her sisters, uncle and auntie had accompanied them to Bombay. On Deepu's behalf, his Periyappa had thrown a grand party at the revolving restaurant of Hotel Ambassador. Amit and Jasmine had also joined them to make the evening more exciting. It was a first of its kind experience for Devi and to her family. The sophisticated ambience and hospitality of a 5-star hotel. After a couple of days' time, Deepu and Devi moved into an independent house at Sahar near to his office. Basically, he didn't want to depend on his Periyappa and Periyamma, who had sheltered him with love and care for long. Almost 3.5 years is a very long time indeed. Since Deepu and Devi were all alone in their flat, unlike other newly married couple, they didn't opt for an honeymoon. Gradually, they both started to know each other well. Their likes, dislikes, the differences, the shortfalls all became a part of their enjoyment. Altogether, a different level of experience of love, friendship, and companionship. In the following months, like normal newly married couples, they had all the fun and enjoyment. Eating out and movies were on priority in their agenda. Of course, they didn't miss out to visit his Periyappa's house frequently. Unfortunately, after a few months, grief struck Deepu's family. His father passed away due to an heart attack in the month of October. His dad had survived 3 attacks earlier. Destiny had given him only 3 chances. Deepu and Devi had rushed to their hometown and along with his brother performed all the last rites as per their custom. His sister Geeta and family had also come from Mehsana. Nobody ever imagined that after a joyful marriage celebration, within a short time, everybody had to be together for a tragic event. These are beyond our control. Only he decides. I mean, destiny. After a fortnight, both Deepu and Devi were back in Bombay and gradually they were back on track. Subsequently, Deepu's mother also moved to Bombay. Even in his mother's case, Destiny had repeated the same episode. She had left her hometown to Bombay after her marriage and had been in Bombay for nearly a decade. Almost after 17 years, Destiny has brought back her to Bombay to be with her son and daughter-in-law. 1988, December 21st. The world witnesses another worst tragedy in aviation history. Pan Am Flight 103 explodes over Scotland, killing all 259 people on board. Besides, 11 people in the ground were killed and many houses were destroyed. The flight took off from Heathrow Airport, London, and it was bound to JFK Airport, New York. The passengers were from 21 countries and the majority were Americans. It's understood that this dastardly attack was carried out by 2 Libyan intelligence agents. Here again, destiny has been cruel, not only to the innocent passengers and crew, but also to the 11 people who didn't even travel in the aircraft.